but they were. Speaking to your mic.
Test.
Looks good. Try the other one.
Oh. Test.
Let me see. Y'all.
Testosterone.
That's cool.
Siren.
Oh,
How did I bruise that? Oh. I know how I bruised that.
you guys bruising shit?
Yeah, I get them all over the place. Sometimes on my thigh when I play with the axle bar, like on lockout, and it just like kind of pulls up. Forearms from the log bar, shoulders from the sandbag.
Okay, cool.
Sometimes when I play with the axle bar, I get them just everywhere. I think after the competition, I'm taking a solid week off because I think my body's gonna be shot to shit.
Hell yeah. All the adrenaline, the strain, the heart.
Oh yeah.
We are live, actually.
Oh, we're live. All right, team. Well, welcome to the Iron Theory pre-stream. Chris is not with us at the moment. He ran away from the studio to get something or do something, so I will be here to entertain you. Can't really do much entertainment right now, but, you know, we'll see. There's bound to be something that occurs. Yeah. Yep. We've been, yesterday was crazy. So, normally podcasts happen on Saturdays, but, like, during the pre-stream, before the podcast officially even started, there was a huge storm, and it knocked out Chris's power for pretty much the entire day. Like, we started streaming at around 4-ish, and then for 12 hours, the power didn't come back until 3 a.m., which sucked for them, but it was fun, you know. We actually got together, we invited a friend over, we played board games. It was fun. It was alright. We went on a walk, stood in a very long line to purchase snacks. We also ordered food. That was nice. Gyros. Some gyros.
So cold.
Yeah, maybe you should put on a sweater. You're fucking naked here.
It's alright. It's like
wearing
right?
short shorts like it's squat day.
Yeah.
Do y'all squat in short shorts?
I feel like you
like
almost
you
need
should.
to. It's
Yeah.
like, especially if you're trying to grow legs, like seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing is believing. That's what I say.
Yeah.
That's my take.
I'm too fat to see my quads flex anyway, so realistically, I don't really care what pants I wear as long as they are loose enough that they don't get in the way, you know? Because if your pants get caught below your knee on a squat, you're done for. Like, you're not gonna outstretch that. It's kind of the whole idea of, there's always something.
Yeah, I like wearing my shorts on my leg days. Like yesterday, I did legs. You told them about the power going out, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
was
the
crazy.
power went out, yep.
Oh, what's this? Oh, look, we've got notes.
Just some little...
Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, I see. I'm not going to read it out loud, but it's... Oh, I see what you're doing here. Okay.
Yeah.
Ah.
I mean,
yes.
however we want to spin it, but that's my take.
Got it. Yeah. Oh, you used a... Oh, this is a big word. Oh, that's a good word.
It's a good word.
That is a you graduated from business school word.
Synergy.
Synergy. Goal 2, create synergy. What does that mean? It's when you're being synergistic. But how do you do that? Well, it's when you sync your energies. What?
Yeah. You know what
how
I
do
mean
you
when
do
I say that word.
You work together, but how do you work together? By creating synergy.
Sure.
But how the fuck? This is my blanket. Get your
chair
own.
is
Turn off the air conditioning.
That means I gotta tell my woman to do it.
Oh, tell your woman. Wow. Wow.
Tell the house slave. No.
Holy fucking misogyny, Batman. That is toxic masculinity over here.
I'll ask nicely.
Mr. Machismo. She's gonna say no. She's gonna say put on a sweater.
I don't want to put.
She's probably listening to us right now because I hear her in the kitchen.
Oh.
Or
Can
maybe
you
it's
turn
your
the
dog.
air down?
Or up, technically.
Or yeah.
I don't know what to say. I mean, turning the air down would not
The
fix
temp.
my current problem. It's hilarious. It's the middle of summer. It's 93 degrees outside, and I'm just like,
But it's cold as hell down here.
I need a blankie.
It was nice though yesterday. Like when the heat was off, it was still pretty cool down here. So we all went downstairs and slept down here on the floor.
Yeah, basements are generally well insulated because, ground.
It was like night and day. The second you go up the last step, it was already like pretty humid and warm.
It's a good thing that air densities generally don't mix, so this colder, denser air just kind of stays in place.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was quite the interesting experience yesterday. And they were saying that, no, not colder. They were saying that they were going to turn it on at 11, but it didn't turn on until like 3 in the morning.
Mm.
The electricity.
Well, they better as hell give you a credit on that bill.
Shit,
They're
something.
gonna say no, they never do.
Yeah. So we're doing the stream today because that's how we do it.
We got to get it done one way or another.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna not get done.
Get this episode out.
Yeah, get it out.
For the people.
Oh my
For
God.
the people.
For the people. All 3 of our listeners. Thank you.
Yes.
All three
All
of
three.
you.
It's more than one. It used to be all one of, but now it's all 3 of.
All 3 of. Well, yeah, we've grown in popularity. It's we've been doing this for a year. You would think we'd get at least a small audience by now. Dear God.
Well, I mean, you're basing numbers off of what Twitch viewers, but Twitch is, and social medias themselves, there's algorithms and you have to manipulate the algorithm, and Twitch is one of those things that
I am the algorithm.
if you don't do it consistently enough, then yeah, obviously that's like, yeah, you'll get your
So
stragglers.
Looks like we just gotta stream my workout every day on Twitch.
Yeah, so at least on Twitch, but I mean the podcast itself, just looking at the stats, there have been an increased number of people listening.
I am
Downloads.
really not good at I would stream my workouts, but 90% of my workout is me sitting trying not to die until my next I'm gonna die attempt.
That's entertainment. That's exciting.
Is
I
it
think people
me
are like,
just,
oh,
like,
look,
sitting
maybe this
there?
guy's gonna die and keel over. Let's call the ambulance. Or
It's 95 degrees. My heart rate's 180.
are we gonna watch this man
I've
die
got
live on
no air
camera?
conditioning. The weight isn't even that heavy, but fucking hell, it's crushing my sternum right now.
Yeah, that'd be exciting.
I could stream my workouts. I gotta reorient the gym to keep the camera, because when it's bright outside, I become a silhouette. Like if you see my Instagram videos,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm down to stream my workouts. I
Yeah,
can stream
that'd
my
be
work. I
cool.
mean, I have the login.
And
on
I
my
was
phone.
just gonna do some Let's Plays because I still play video games, and that's just something that I can also do. So whoever is on here, if you're lurking, follow and like. So we're at 40 followers on here, so we need 50s to be affiliates on Twitch, I think. So 50.
Hey,
Oh shit!
somebody made a noise. We did a thing. Something happened.
Thank whoever that was. But yeah, so if you're lurking, just follow and like. Just help the algorithm. You know how this shit works. All your social medias, whatever, they're all listed on the banner on Twitch. Do all that. That's all the good shit.
Go on Instagram and search Iron Theory. There's 2 Iron Theories. There's Iron Theory _AW, Iron Theory CG.
Yep.
And
We got
my Instagram is quite
TikTok.
entertaining.
We somehow managed to
How is our
co-work
TikTok
the
doing?
TikTok.
How
let's
is
see.
our TikTok doing?
Oh, sweet technology. Let me just put it in my veins. Can I just stare at my fucking
What
phone?
you need to do is the actual podcast will begin at 12:30. This is our pre-stream. We're just shooting this shit. All right, Nick
Nick
Nocturnal.
Nocturnal.
All right.
That's
Hey, my sandbag video's at 580. I'll take it.
Yeah, that's pretty good. No, it's at 612 on my end.
What the fuck?
You're not kidding the other day?
Bullshit. Yours is
Weird.
lying. I'm seeing 580.
That's
Now
weird.
it's 612.
Ah, there you go.
Okay, there you go. I want somebody to duet that. What do you think about when you do a heavy lift? I don't actually think at all. Like, usually my mind goes blank the moment I put any sort of tension.
It's just you just
It's
hear
just
a
a
slight
blackout.
ping.
Yeah, it's just tinnitus until I put it on the ground and the world fades back into existence.
Tinnitus. Yep.
It's
Like a bomb went
oh
off.
my
just
god, just
in your
silence.
head.
Yes.
Your head exploded.
I mean, I sit there. It's like
Internal bleeding.
it really does. Like, do you actually like when you do a heavy lift? I don't mean like a set where you're counting and you're focusing in my muscle connection and all that stuff, or like when I'm going a little bit lighter and I'm practicing my form. I mean, when I go for a heavy lift, my brain blanks. I don't think. Like, there is no thought that it's just one.
Nice.
Just
He's like, I too have a Shenron and Dragon Ball sleeve.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Oh, let's take a good look at it. Look at that thing. Oh.
loser. Hey, show him the other one. It's brand new. It's still
This one's
peeling.
Still peeling.
He got his dogs tattooed on his arm. His dogs.
Yeah, my lovely Doges.
Doges. I wouldn't call them lovely. They are little shits.
They're protective, bold.
Protective, bold.
They're comedic.
I wouldn't call them bold.
They're pretty bold.
I'd call them loud. I don't know about bold.
I would say that's bold.
Dude,
I would
one of them
constitute that as
sees
bold.
one of them sees a dog and literally bows before him or her. Literally any dog. It could be a Chihuahua half the size of your dog, and your dog would be like, "Ah, yes, queen, please."
Queen simp
Bold.
dog.
Simp dog.
Fucking simps.
Simping for the Doges.
Damn, he's got his cats tattooed on his leg.
See, but that's a valiant animal. A cat is a symbol of strength, power, agility, ferocity, survival.
See, I think you can tell which animal he likes more as far as house pets.
Cats are beautiful.
I mean, I like cats too. I
They
have
are
a
strong.
cat. Well, at my parents' house, I have a cat.
Now, cats are
Still
bold.
alive.
They'll fight anything.
He's a scaredy cat though.
Oh, well.
Well, unless you get really close to him and he has no choice and he's backed in a corner, then he'll swipe your face. But yeah, fight or
like-
flight.
I like the YouTube videos of like this tiny little cat and just comes across this like fucking like just massive dog and the cat's like just like, I don't care how big you are, I got you.
See, my dogs don't give a shit because like when my brother's cat comes over and he'll hiss at them, they're just like still trying to play with him. They're like, they'll smack or the cat will smack the shit out of both dogs. Still there, just like, oh yeah, I'm so
You know,
happy.
you know, that's
Yay.
Train
Bold.
with the fearlessness of a cat. Just like, I've never hit 600 pounds before. Well, you're going to try or you're going to die. One of those is going to happen.
Yes, exactly. You know what we need, because it's Twitch and people love this shit, is more neon or not neon.
E-girls.
E-girls and more RGB light. Like just
I could get-
like red, green, some kind of like
I
you
could just
know.
my cousin to sit in the corner. She's got
Yeah.
a simp army. She's
Oh
got
yes.
yeah, she's got
Simp army.
She's got an army. I make fun of her for it. I'm starting to comment on her posts sometimes because every now and then she'll post like, you know, just for attention, which is fine. I'm not blaming her. Like, she's from the generation
It's,
where, you know, it everybody needs validation. I'm not gonna judge her for it. That's not my thing.
Social media, baby.
Exactly. But she'll just post something, you know, like, oh my god, I miss Jamaica, you know, or and it's just
Take
like
me
her
back.
in a bikini, and then like 30 dudes be like, wow, you're so beautiful, wow, you're so amazing. And I just start commenting now.
Thanks,
It's all like
thanks,
Simp
thanks.
Army of May. Like,
Has anybody
Simp
responded to
Army
you?
together.
Has anybody responded
Every
to
now
you?
and then she laughs at it.
But like as far as like the actual
No, because they know I'm right.
simpletons.
Look, I don't want to make fun of the simps, okay? Listen, you're trying your hardest. You want somebody that's out of your league. I've had that problem too, okay? We all have desires and hopes and dreams, and
Nothing
I
wrong
am
with
here to
that.
crush them for you.
Let me bring you down a peg.
Plus, she's family, and if you touch her, I will break you.
Even more reason.
I will pick up an Atlas stone and I will throw it at you.
I mean, that's the main reason why I think you kind of make yourself present on those posts.
I am
is because you're like very
frighteningly
like protective.
I will break you.
And I'm sure she knows that too, which is nice.
Break you.
Yeah, it's super nice. Let's see what else you're saying. Sorry, I can't see you from over here.
You know, just put the stream, just like look it up on your phone.
That's true. I guess I could do that. But that's not fun. I'm getting some cardio in.
Lunges. Small lunges. Svetlana Chan started following me. Alright, Lana, you got it.
They're right. So, Lana says, what's the difference between posting, like, progress pictures on social media is kind of all validation, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't think... And I think we did an episode a while back ago, something about that, something about social media. I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all. I think it's like I said, whatever the episode that was, where it's like a public record for yourself.
It is
to kind of just keep track, and it's nice to hear. Oh, people are seeing that as well. That you're getting. Oh my God, you look so different or whatever. I think that's good because it forces that person to kind of keep going too. So I think that's perfectly valid.
And it really is, it's one, it does keep you accountable, right? It's not like anybody cares, but it puts you this idea in your head. Oh, people are wondering what's going on. I have this, like, even if it's fake, it's this sense of accountability. And then don't get me wrong. I mean, if you are doing this at even like an amateur competitive level, people are going to follow you. And if you're doing it as a professional, people will obsessively follow you, especially other competitors. You're like, okay, so you're training this way. You hit this weight in training, I'll hear the top powerlifters and top strongmen talk about using social media as part of their strategy. It's all like, who was it? Just like I'm hitting heavier weights in training than I have to in competition just to like psych you out a little bit.
Right.
So it's interesting. I mean, I post my stuff online because I have a vanity issue and an ego problem, and I like people to give me a gold star and tell me I do good.
But don't you feel better about it though?
I feel infinitely better about it. Oh yeah.
I think that's valid. I think just having that feedback, because it's like putting a product out and leaving a review almost in a way. Yeah. It's like, so I did this. Was it good? And, that kind of a thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And but if somebody does critique you negatively, like, just accept it, man. Like, if your squat was at questionable depth and somebody on the internet says, oh, no, you didn't break parallel, maybe you didn't break parallel.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't.
Or maybe they're just an asshole. Well, I mean, it could go either way.
There's going to be assholes on like Olympic weightlifters ass to grass squats saying, I don't think you went deep enough, bro. So I mean, just like know the difference between that's a skit on our Instagram.
Right.
Don't,
Yeah, we have some skits.
The trolls are going to be trolls.
We got some social media presence.
But then there are some valid, entertaining internet debates that are filled with trolls. But if you read between the lines, like, how arched could a bench be until it's ridiculous, And I'm all for it. I mean, hell, if you're a full-on contortionist and you can bench with a centimeter range of motion, it's within the rules. Your shoulders are on the platform, your butt's on the platform, you're good. You're not breaking any rules. You have just trained your body to be flexible in a particular way, and that's your advantage.
For sure. I mean, like, I have a principled stance on that, but that's neither here nor there. Like, that's all fine. Well, of course that's fine.
Well, you would never bench like that because you're not engaging enough musculature.
Right.
You're not gonna build a nice physique benching that way.
Right. Exactly. So I mean, as far as from just trying to look at it from just the competitor standpoint, they're just trying to get this weight up in every advantage possible. So if it's like, oh yeah, it could be an inch or whatever off your chest, and then you get it up and it's enough to lock out, and then if it counts, it counts.
My favorite thing is when you make fun of me for how much leg drive I use. Are you leg driving your incline press? I'm like, I don't know any other way to bench. Like, if my feet are not driven into the floor, I don't know how to bench. Like, my body falls apart.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's fine because it's like, okay, well, if that's your technique to your goal to lift as much weight as possible, then great, But I can have my commentary. That's also
Yes.
fine, I think.
You have the right to critique me, and I have the right to be stronger than you.
And it's not even like insulting. It's not, I mean, like it's an insult. It's like, why can't you do whatever, blah blah blah. So, because, whatever, that's just my opinion.
Yep.
It's like my opinion, man.
Just like my opinion, bro.
Exactly. Yeah, 12:27. We got a few minutes.
We do. I remember there. When was a time when I generally won't talk shit to people like when they're lifting or give workout tips or anything. Every now and then you'll have somebody ask you. But I remember one time, this was back in college, where I literally went up to someone. I was like, "You need to stop doing what you're doing now, because you will break yourself." This was in college. She was very small. I mean, there was no way her weight broke 110. There's not a single way she weighed more than 110 pounds. And she was a foreign exchange student, and she was training in the gym, and she was putting like 225 pounds on the bar, and she was literally just like benching like almost like a shoulder shrug, and that
Like
was
a
her
scapular
bench.
press.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. And like I saw her doing this enough times, and I'm just like, okay, if something goes wrong, number one, you are putting so much tear on your elbow tendon, like your body is not built to support this weight yet. Okay, like you will hurt yourself. I mean, she kept doing it, but like it's at some point, like,
what did she say as far as like you saying that or whatever?
she just brushed it off, which is fine. I mean, okay, lift however you want to lift, but you're like, if you're being stupid, fine, but if you're being dangerous, I feel like somebody should tell you something.
Yeah,
I mean, like there's a difference between, putting 225 on the bar and bouncing it off your chest and lifting your ass off the ground and doing it, whatever. Fine. You're being stupid. You're not being dangerous. But if you're putting double your body weight on a bar and literally just like putting that much pressure on your elbow, like you're gonna hurt.
Yeah,
you're gonna hurt yourself.
So my opinion on that, well, as far as like, I don't know what her training experience is. So I mean, if that is the case, then then I guess that would be a good context to kind of mention that. But like if it's like, oh, this person's been lifting that weight that way for a good amount of time and the body's adapted to just doing that specifically, that's a different situation. But again, that's why it's such a case by case kind of a thing.
No, it was legitimately dangerous. Like, I'm not gonna whatever. Yeah. We all did stupid shit in the gym when we first started.
Yeah, for sure.
We all did.
It's not like we were just born
exactly.
immaculate
no.
with perfect technique. Like, I think that's unreasonable.
I would certainly hope if I were doing something legitimately dangerous, somebody would be like, okay, listen, dude, I don't mean to be a dick, but you are gonna hurt yourself right now like this.
I don't mean to be a dick, but it's 12:30.
Ooh, run the intro.
Intro scene.
Yeah. That was, I kind of like that.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
Bros and brolettes.
Vikings and Valkyries.
Welcome to Iron Theory.
Your podcast about fitness, life, and everything in between.
I'm Chris.
I'm Arthur.
We did it in reverse.
We did it in reverse, and we didn't mess up. Look at that.
I'm surprised. I was like, oh man,
We're
somebody's
getting good at
gonna
this.
mess it up.
No, we got it.
Yeah.
Good.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Oh,
A nice little a precursor to what we're gonna kind of talk about. Well, at least like the previous stuff, the validation, all that kind of fun business. Because what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about the final point in the Swole Trinity.
The Swole Trinity.
So we noted that strength is not just one thing. To be swole, to be truly strong, actually takes strength in 3 different domains. There is, of course, swole of body, being physically strong. Last time in our podcast, we talked about being swole of mind. knowledge, curiosity, knowing what's going on, knowing how to train, knowing the science behind things, being swole of mind. And today we're going to talk about being swole of heart.
Swole of heart.
Swole of heart. Kindness.
Feelsies. We're up in our feels.
The feelsies today.
Kindness, emotion. That's the way I'm. That's my take on this specific book. Being swole of heart is the human element, which coincides of all these different emotions that we might have, and that as it pertains to lifting. So that's going to be the conversation today, and it should be an interesting one.
And I mean this completely. I don't mean just in the gym. I mean, if you want to be swole, if you want to be strong, true strength. Like I said when I was in the TikTok video, on the Instagram video, I put it up.
TikTok with the kid.
It's all like, what do you think about when you're going in for a heavy lift? You get your blood pumping and you're like, you have to think about it like it's your best friend who's on the ground and they're feeling down. And if you can't get it up, you won't be able to pick them up. You got to support them, bro.
Right. And I agree.
Yeah.
But what do we say? That you don't think about anything when you do a heavy lift?
When I black out, like literally nothing exists. Time stops. I don't remember finishing a rep. I just phase back into existence, and I'm like,
but then
did I
you
get
have
it?
that post nut clarity. Then you're like,
oh God,
you're like, what did I do? That's when you start thinking
I
about
look
what
at the
you
video,
just
I'm
did.
like, huh? I got it up. All right.
Got the post lift
Hey, look at
clarity,
that.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a fun little episode, kind of talking about these specific things. I don't know where you wanted to start, but we could either go off of what I kind of had, or maybe you had a point that you wanted to make first.
You know what? I like your outline. Let's start with you, and I will butt in whenever I feel my opinions on the emotions that I don't have
Sure.
become relevant.
You have emotion. So what does it mean to be swole of heart? So at least my take, and I'm sure Arthur in some respect is going to be close to this. What does it mean? So as far as being swole of heart, in my opinion, it means to have empathy, having these human elements, but as it pertains to lifting weights, as it pertains to training, because training can be an emotional experience. Training is one of those things that's very personal to everybody, every individual. It's different. Everybody will experience training differently. And, just from that cold, calculated, analytical point, yeah, it looks like it's just like, okay, we're lifting reps or we're lifting weights. We're lifting X amount of weight. We're trying to hit this kind of a goal. And it sounds very organized, just this very like specific kind of a thing. But there's a lot going on, I feel, as we actually do these things, and that's what makes it a very dynamic experience, and that's what kind of adds to the general picture of what it means to be swole. So that is what I think it is.
Yeah, and I like how you said that lifting can be an emotional experience, because I feel, especially when you really get into it and you're training for strength or maybe for competition or maybe to look a certain way or to compete at a certain level, and a training session goes really well, or a certain rep attempt, goes really well. You are excited, you're elated, but if you have a training day that doesn't go quite as well, like you are like, I get mad.
Yeah.
When certain training days, like, I should have been able to get this easy. What's wrong with me today? Like, it is a very emotional experience in some sense. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's so as you mentioned, the effort. And yeah, like some days are going to feel like shit, right? Some days are not going to feel like 100% as far as, that specific training day. And that's the nature, I feel, of just of training itself, is that there are these dynamic elements to it. So, for instance, I got this tattoo. So how did that affect my psyche as far as my training? So I felt like I was like, I'm going to get smaller in my upper body or whatever because I have this tattoo. So that kind of threw this bone into my training regimen for the week. So I'm like, oh shit, I guess I'm just doing legs and, kind of neglecting the upper body or whatever for a little bit. So just those thoughts themselves kind of changed the dynamic of my training program within the week, stuff like that. Like daily or life events that might deter you that specific week. But again, that's what adds to this whole experience.
Having the heart to continue, right? Just
Yeah.
just having the intestinal fortitude, the heart to, I love that term, intestinal fortitude.
Intestinal
Just having the
fortitude.
guts and the heart to continue day in, day out. When you're sore and you're hurting, not injured. Don't
Yeah.
be smart, right? We talked about that
Train
last week.
smart,
Be
yeah.
smart, train smart. But if you're just sore, because if you're training at a high level, you're gonna be sore. It's gonna hurt. Just having the heart to just be like, okay, I just need to get this done. Everything will be better once I start moving. I just need to get through it. I have a goal. I am committed to this goal. That's full on, just like that. That takes heart. That takes courage. That takes some hardened emotions.
So, just to kind of go into more detail about at least my week. So, the way it kind of looked like was okay. I had my first day back in the gym on Tuesday, so I got my tattoo on Monday, and then I went in on Tuesday. And I knew I wanted to work out. Like that was bar none in my head. I knew that was going to be something that I needed to do. I could have sat it out, but I'm like, okay, so I'm going to hit legs today. I'm telling myself this. And I'm going through the exercises. I tried to do a squat, and I'm like, okay, I can't do a barbell squat because my arm was very sore. I couldn't get my arm into this specific position because my elbow and the flexion, it was just like super tight. I didn't want to risk tearing anything within that area. So that kind of deterred me. So like stuff like that, I was like, fuck. Like it's like all or nothing sometimes. It's like I either do this barbell squat or I just don't squat at all. Like sometimes I have this very black and white mentality where it's like all or nothing, which is not necessarily good, but that's why we're talking about this right now, because that's just one of my faults, right? But as I kind of sat around on my phone trying to figure out what I'm trying to do, trying to get my mind off of being pissed off about that squat, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the belt squat. So I don't really need my hands to hold any weight, so I had that belt. So if you've ever seen one of these things, I know here there's this brand called a Pit Shark. So the Pit Shark, there's a hook and a belt you put around your waist, attaches to the little orifice, and then you sink deep and you get your non-axial loaded squat down, right? So it felt pretty good. So as I was going through those reps and sets, I started feeling better. I started feeling more in sync with the exercise and the training, and it felt pretty good.
Yeah. It is important to kind of know how to deal with your emotions in the gym and in the training scenario, because I see people completely lose it. You'll have it on Instagram all the time, just people completely losing their minds, getting way too angry, breaking equipment, just throwing things around. I mean, I get it. It is a flight or fight response, right? You have an adrenaline spike, but just being aware of yourself and how you're feeling. Just sort of mindfulness, okay, this is where I am, these are my surroundings, this is what just happened, like being aware of how you feel, where you are. I think that's also important, this idea of mindfulness, and not only being able to perceive your surroundings, but how you're feeling and how that will affect the people around you.
Because think about just your just touching on like mental health, because that definitely touches into this, because everything's kind of connected here. Having that off day and then going into the gym, understanding that you're gonna do your exercises, but once you get there, and then just kind of allowing that to I guess like help you out, so just making sure that actually lost my point. Shit. But as far as well, how about we talk about this? So let's go into the effort in training. How about that? Let's talk about
let's
that.
do it.
So as far as effort, I don't know why I'm...
All right, let's do this.
Yeah.
So in terms of so let's take it from the emotional standpoint, because I see a couple of things written down here. when you're feeling a certain way, it's going to affect your workout, right?
Yeah.
And part of what being swole of heart is, I mean, I don't want to say letting your emotion control your lift, because at some points that is helpful, but just being aware that how you feel is going to affect how you lift. I can lift angry and I can lift happy, but I cannot lift sad.
Yeah.
If my, and I make this joke all the time where I don't have emotions. Unfortunately, I do have emotions, and they're extremely powerful, and they're very what's that word? They're very physical.
Yeah.
And like when I feel a certain way, it is all encompassing. It's almost burdensome. Like when I'm sad, I am sad. When I'm happy, I'm damn near manic. Not in the, not in the DSM sort of way. But I feel my emotions very, very physically. They are very, very overwhelming. And when I'm, when you're feeling angry, you can take it out. When you're feeling happy or in a great mood, you can lift. I cannot lift sad. It is like almost physiologically impossible for me to just, I will not.
It's like so when I had that brain fart right now, like just trying to get my my thoughts together. It's dealing with those specific emotions that allow you to kind of perceive that. So when you're talking about anger and lifting, that's that. It was like this like emotion. I was just getting frustrated. Right, I was like, what the fuck. So lifting angry is one of those things that, at least for me, it actually helps me when I'm doing that as I'm lifting in anger. So like when I was doing legs yesterday, for instance, having that specific emotion in the back seat was helping me go through legs again, So,
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's kind of important to remember, and we had an entire episode about this, right? Right, having your training partner, your swole mate, whatever you want to call them, right, with you. How you feel and how they feel is going to affect the dynamic of the workout. Like if I'm feeling down, there is a certain human empathy that comes out that you don't necessarily have control over. Science mode in your brain, the actual source of empathy comes from a certain source of neurons that will mirror the people around you. So this is an evolutionary adaptation. This is what happens with babies, and a fair number of mammals have this too, where they will mimic the facial expressions and they will mimic the emotions of the parents or whoever's around them in certain scenarios, right? So if your parents are afraid of something, you will be afraid of something. It's in your brain, it's ingrained. There are neurons called mirror neurons. And these mirror neurons, when you see a certain emotion, those same neurons that would be firing if you were experiencing that emotion kind of fire off as well. That is the biological, like physical source of empathy. Like somebody's feeling angry, you don't know what they're angry about. You just see it in their face, and now you start feeling a little bit angry with them. Or if somebody's sad and you see them, you're sad. That's how movies play into your emotions, right? They show an emotion, and you start feeling that emotion, even though you're not feeling it, like by yourself.
Yeah.
So just be aware that how you are will affect the people around you. And this is very important for us, the way we are in our jobs. If I'm angry, my students will get angry. Like if they see that on me. So sometimes, unfortunately, you just have to put on a certain face, right? You could be having a really crap day, but if you're a professional, if you have a certain job, you're in a position where you just have to sort of put on a strong face and be like, okay, new class, I mean, sure, I'm angry on the inside, but I can't feel it. Do you find yourself doing this with your clients a lot?
Yeah, I mean, as far as that, like when I'm, depending on my day, but I guess we can use 2 days ago, for instance, so again, still kind of fueled by this like irritation, this kind of an anger thing. But as I'm training this person, these individuals, I think the fact that I had this expression on my face kind of translated to, the way they were kind of going through their workouts as well. Because, yeah, I mean, it was just obvious. It was just one of those things that was just a thing that was fueling that for them, So they would be going through their workouts and they would be feeling exactly that. So.
It's sort of interesting talking about being swole of heart when you're talking about being in the gym. Because this is kind of something we have talked about a little bit before, right? Just being kind, welcoming, respectful of other members of the gym. You know, everybody's there for a different reason. And it's kind of interesting to sometimes hear like what got people into the gym. Sure, you'll get the handful of people saying who are like, "Oh, I saw a video and I was inspired," or "Oh, I'm just trying to be the best me." But usually there's a reason for it, you know, like a bad breakup or like something
Yeah.
terrible happened. You're like, "Okay, I need to find some way to deal with this that's, you know, productive or at least helpful to me in some way." And they find the gym and they find they like it, and it kind of steamrolls into, you know, becoming a person who's a gym bro or brolette or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
themselves. So it's kind of interesting how sometimes just having the mindset and the heart of knowing that something bad happened and you actively seek out a positive way to deal with it, like fitness or strength training or running. One of our friends who was also a guest in the podcast, right? He has a whole story about how he started going to the gym and why to deal
Philip.
with certain emotions. Yeah, so it's just, you know, it's important to kind of understand and that everybody is there who had very different days, you know, and kindness goes a long way. You know, just like those mirror neurons, when you're feeling sad, people will see that. If you're feeling happy and excited to be there, the people around you will also be happy and excited to be there.
What about, so we talked a little bit about anger as it kind of pertains to how we lift and go to the gym and do our things. What about sadness? How does sadness as an emotion affect your training?
No, I don't, I won't, I can't. I tried. I felt sad once and I went to the gym and I just couldn't. I have a video of me just like sitting in the gym crying. I'm like, I'm done.
Do you?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Like I tried like getting under the barbell and it was just suffocating. It was all like I couldn't even do my warm-up sets. I'm like, it's just not happening today. I cannot. I am really, really bad at dealing with sadness. Extraordinarily bad at dealing with sadness. Anger I can deal with, you know. I'll yell and scream for a couple of seconds and then I'm fine. You've seen me drive. I'm like, ah,
Right.
you piece of shit. I'm like, okay,
I
problem
feel
solved.
like that's just
I
an
just need to get it out.
easier. That's an easier. Well, anger. It's just an easier emotion for me to express. I don't know why it's an easier thing. That could be a bad thing, but anger is a very easy thing for me to express. Maybe it's the music, maybe it's just part of my personality, but it's very easy for me to just express that specifically. Sadness, when I get sad, I get quiet. And usually that's very internalized. But when I go to the gym, and it's very interesting because sometimes it's the case that I will still go to the gym, I'll still exercise, even just having those little episodes. But you know, the workouts do suffer. I would say just because it's like, okay, well, now you got this specific thing that's on your head, and you're trying to think about that, and then you're trying to think about your workout, and it's just not going up to plan. But I'm very internal when it comes down to the sad thing. So expressing that, I don't know, and yeah, I can't function sometimes as far as like doing that. It's one of those emotions that I can't, you know.
Yeah, sadness is a toughie. I mean, there are some people who are really good at dealing with sadness. I mean, like trauma nurses, like social workers, especially
Man.
who work with children, right? These are people who can like they can turn their sadness on and off or hide it or something, and I am not capable of doing that.
Uh,
What helps you get over sadness?
Time, music. I think music. I think talking about it, like, you know, like the conversation we're kind of having right now, just kind of having the conversation, seeing where it goes, and just letting it kind of express itself out. And then usually I feel better at the end of the conversation. Typically, it's just, I think it's just kind of bringing it out into reality that kind of makes it feel better
Yeah,
for me.
when I'm having like sometimes I have a bad day and I'll just like actively like ask a friend of mine like, hey, you want to go for a walk? Like I need to get out. Like I need to talk. I like obviously I like talking.
Sure.
I like talking things through. I get really mad. It just really really mad if somebody doesn't want to talk through something. I'm like, okay, listen, this is affecting both of us. We need to have this discussion right here, right now. Like, I don't care what's going on. I don't like it. I like to settle things through like very thoroughly.
To confirm.
Yeah, confirmed, deny, whatever. Just sadness is sadness. I sometimes I just need to rant, talk it out, and then I'll get over it. When you're sad and you go with music, I tend to go for something very cathartic. Like I'll go like, okay, this song makes me cry. I'm gonna have a cathartic moment, get it out of my system, hope for the best. Do you do that, or do you look for something to change it?
I try to look for something that's a bit more epic. I want to say something that's a bit more like melancholy, but it's very dynamic as far as the sound that it's producing. But um, usually I won't go for sad music because I feel it kind of like puts me still in that specific zone of sadness. So I try to look for music that I like, maybe something that puts me back to a happier feeling. Like songs that I associate with X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And that usually kind of helps me with that specific emotion. And I do feel better, I feel, when I do that. So yeah.
Everybody's got different ways of dealing with, their emotions,
Yeah.
I will live in it. I will take the sadness. I will feel it. I will play the sad song. I will have my cathartic moment.
I'll have
and
a
then
cold
hopefully it'll be
shower.
better.
And
Oh,
just
God.
sit in the shower.
If I have a cold shower, I'm pretty sure I would break a wall.
But I like that is actually one thing I like to do. So let's say I have just a shitty day. I'll go home. I'll take a really long shower. I'll play whatever music, and I'm just in the shower, like probably for more than 20 minutes or whatever, 30 minutes, racking up that water bill.
Yeah, but you know what? There's something weird. There is something soothing and calming about just being in water.
The water, but like
Yeah,
specifically the
just
water
something-
hitting me
Yeah.
and just listening to the water. It's
It is-
very therapeutic.
It
to
is,
me.
and you see it in movies too, like they'll splash cold water on your face or something. There was something weirdly therapeutic about just water.
It's something. I
interesting.
think it's the act of like you feel like you're cleansing that specific
Something
thing
off.
away from you. I think that's what it is.
Very metaphorical. I'm impressed.
I think that's what it is. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm just gonna say that's what it is.
It's all that's
Sounds
almost,
right to me.
And it is sort of ritualistic in some sense, like, okay, I'm just gonna wash these emotions.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I think there's something there to that.
And then, so there really isn't that much left to talk about being swollen in the gym, but I mean, just in life, in general, I feel like there's always this trend of like, you should be kind to others, but what does that actually mean? Like, what does it act like? What? I think that's like the biggest struggle that civilizations, societies, religions, political doctrines, theologies, philosophies, whatever,
Yeah.
had tried to answer. I mean, obviously, it's be kind, right? But what does that look like? Like, what does it mean to be kind to others? Like, what does it mean? Like, don't be a dick. What does it mean to not be a dick? Or what does it mean to be a good person?
I feel like I think there's things that we understand as human beings, and like you said, so being in the gym, all those emotions that we feel still are pertaining to everything else we're doing in life. And this is a podcast about fitness, life, and everything between. So we're gonna take it to that position right now. I there must be some kind of unwritten rule, like, okay, don't kill that guy. Like, I mean, like, I don't know. Is there something in our heads that
but
tells
is there ever a moment in which letting someone die is the kindest thing you can do? Like here, I'm thinking about all these like, euthanasia debates and like the right to die. Right? If you're suffering and you want to go, who am I to say that no, you must continue to suffer? This is something that you want. This is something that you are not unstable. You are in your right mind. You are totally logical. You are in a position where you are in excruciating pain or something, and medically assisted, you want to go. Who is anybody else to say, like, is that not kindness in that case?
It's like my philosophy class in first year of college.
Right.
I think that was a question
Like,
I remember.
you
them
sit there
asking.
and it's this question. My undergrad philosophy class was the philosophy of happiness. Like, what does it actually mean to be happy? Can you define what that is? I mean, I was sitting there and like, yeah, that is when the serotonin reuptake is happening at an increase. But whatever.
Is that invalid though?
No, it's
No?
not. I always, That's emotions don't have an equation to it, which is what is so obnoxious to me. You
Because
can't
you like you're
predict.
the kind of person who likes that certainty within the answer, and
Yeah.
I think emotions and talking about emotions themselves, and I kind of struggle with this too, is not having that certainty to know why the hell it is that this person's feeling that or whatever.
Yeah, like why people are feeling like something that makes me totally happy will make other people sad. I'm just like, but what?
But I think that's
Or even
when
backwards, it's just weird.
so empathy. I think that's where empathy kind of comes in, is to understand, what this person might be going through on some level. So usually when we try to empathize with the individual, we try to refer back to something in our experience to kind of deal with that situation. And I guess bringing it back to personal training, it's very much, I would say, like most days are pretty lax, but there's those days where you're dealing with human beings, and these human beings have things going on in their lives, and they bring that stuff to the sessions. So you're having these conversations because you're just going to sit there and not talk about anything, right? Like
Yeah.
for me, I can't be silent in those situations. I'm like, okay, but there needs to be some conversation
Yeah.
happening. And you learn a lot about these people, and you get to try to experience like what they experience that specific day. It could be a trivial thing in your head, but just trying to understand, why this specific thing might be bothering them, or why are they happy about this specific thing, which makes it a pretty rewarding experience in that case. Trying to find
Yeah.
empathy, I
I
think.
get put into a really entertaining situation a lot of times in my job. So I'm a teacher. I teach high school. Occasionally, I will teach a gifted middle school program for like seventh and eighth graders. And I see everybody. Like usually I'll see seventh graders. Most commonly, I teach sophomores. The oldest I teach is seniors. Like I see like every single age range you could imagine in a high school. And when something and I'm not in a bad neighborhood or in a bad school or anything. My kids are usually kind of well off. It is still Chicago public schools, so you do get, occasionally like, okay, this is obviously Chicago. This is what happens. But occasionally you'll have kids, who have good lives, upper middle class, they're well off. And it's interesting to see some of these, the sort of issues they bring, because it's the worst thing that has ever happened to them so far. And
Yeah.
sometimes a kid will come in super, super sad, they just got into a fight with their boyfriend or something. And it's the worst fight they've ever had with their boyfriend because it's the first and only fight they've ever had with a significant other. And you sometimes have to keep that in mind, by the time you finish college or by the time you're 30, you've had your X amount of fights and you're like, oh, okay, well, okay, whatever. It's easier to get over it.
Right.
But, here's this 13, 14-year-old, like this is the first time they're ever feeling this. It's important to you it might seem trivial, like a little thing might seem stupid to you, but that's only because it's happened to you, septillion times.
Right. And it's funny you mentioned that because I train a few teenagers, and like it seems like, as we're teenagers, we start to experience a lot of these like kind of like life changing events. It's the first time we're training, or the first time we're experiencing, yeah, love and heartbreak and all these specific things, and trying to deal with these specific emotions. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up too, but because what was the point you made? Something about it was the
Well, yeah,
that
because you
shit.
were like, are there unwritten rules about being kind? And you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
well, don't kill that guy.
Right,
And I'm
right.
like, well, okay, but sometimes though,
Right.
okay.
I mean, that's why, like, just to get to that point. So thanks for your comment,
Jalapeno.
jalapeno. Yeah, jalapeno, jalapeno. um, I think there are exceptions to that, right? To end suffering, to just try to ease somebody's pain in that sense. I think that would be an exception to that specific thing I mentioned.
Oh.
But back to the you were talking about your kids and stuff like that. So I train a few teenagers, and yeah, I mean, just like going back to that time when I was a teenager, like I've experienced that too. I've had relationships and stuff like that. So again, trying to get on their level, because like to them at the moment, for me, I'm like, yeah, whatever, like been there, done that, you'll learn or whatever. Sometimes whatever that default kind of like thought that comes into my head is, but trying to actually understand that person in that moment, so going back to trying to feel that specific way, it helps with the conversation. It helps kind of this person um, try to deal with that. So in turn, it helps with the training, and then having them start thinking about all these other things for training, so they're not like overloaded with all this stuff, which is still difficult because they're
Yeah.
teenagers, and being a teenager can suck.
It can,
Yeah.
but they are fun to work with every now and then.
Yeah.
They're an
That's true.
entertaining group.
Sure.
What I still want to go back to that. What does it mean to be kind? Like, what does it mean to be a good person? Because
Well, let's think about it.
Because there are so many like conflicting ideas in, because you have, the super altruistic sense, which I don't believe altruism exists, right? It's complete selflessness, right? Working for others, disregarding your own needs. But I don't think that's there, because if you are an altruistic person, if you do something good for somebody else, how do you feel?
I feel like
Well, then that ends up being kind of a little hedonistic, doesn't it?
I mean, I think we're selfish creatures by nature. I don't think there's a situation where we're just completely selfless. Like there's nothing in our heads that triggers a helpful like response
Yeah.
or whatever. The dopamine hit, or you feel good. I mean, that'd be
No.
a benefit, right?
Yeah. Like, and I don't want to say that everybody is self-serving, or that every motivation has some sort of impulse that,
No.
okay, it's going to benefit me in some way. But, if you're doing good for the sake of feeling good, does that make you any less of a good person? Like, and I see this all the time. Like, let's say, like, you are somebody who volunteers consistently, you post about it on social media, so other people think you're a good person. You're still volunteering. Does the intent, right? I want people to think I'm a good person. Does that change the act you did?
I don't think it does. I think again, it comes down to your perception of that specific thing. But like, I think for most people who would look at that person doing that specific deed would say that yes, that is a good thing, whatever that is. But for that individual that actually did the act, like let's say I was doing it, whatever it is, so volunteering to help homeless people or
Sure.
whatever example. I feel like just that act of like helping an individual who might not have a certain amount of stuff is a good thing. Why I think that's something I guess we're still trying to figure out right now. But like it's just in my head, I'm like, yeah, that's great. I did a good thing. This person has less, I have more. Here's more, right?
All right, or here's like my time or something.
Yeah, like time.
My volunteer, like I don't donate money. I don't do anything like that. Hell, I don't even help people half the time. I do ecosystem restoration work for my volunteer work. I do it like twice a week, just because I enjoy it. It's not. Oh God, it's not even helping other people. Well, indirectly, ecosystems are okay. Whatever. I can go down the economic route of why maintaining biodiversity
Rabbit
is
hole.
beneficial to people, but it's at some point, it's just a good crowd, and I like the people, and we hang out, and I'm covered in mosquito bites pretty much head to toe, but like I
Nice.
don't care. It's all like I had fun with people I like. I have a certain skill set. I have a certain knowledge set of ecosystem functions, invasives, natives, and I kind of I'm donating that experience. I'm donating that time rather than anything material.
What's the crowd that you work with? Like, who do they consist of?
It's sort of interesting when you look at volunteer groups to begin with, and there is a certain type of people who has the ability to volunteer. Most people who volunteer tend to be financially well off because they're in a position where they can donate time or money or something, right? It's very rare that you will find somebody super low on like a on the socioeconomic ladder volunteering, just because they do not have the actual ability, even if they would want to. They're either working or doing something. They just do not have the ability or the time to volunteer. So it also tends to be people who are very interested in a specific thing. So if you are, if you volunteer for like a sports team for kids, right? You probably like playing softball or something like that. For ecosystem restoration work, these are people who are generally kind of plant nerds or birders or herpers or something, right? People who are very interested in, hey, I like flowers, I have a collection of seeds, blah, 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 blah. People who are interested in that thing. But it's an interesting crowd we get. We get everything from people serving people serving hours for community service, court-ordered community service kind of thing. And every now and then there was one dude who started volunteering because it was court ordered and then just kind of stayed.
Really?
Yeah, just stayed.
Well, that's interesting.
Cool. And you'll see everybody. You'll have people of different faiths. Like at last time we were there, we were talking about volunteering because the volunteer coordinator for the Forest Preserve District was there with us, and somehow we just got into this discussion. One of our volunteers immigrated from Iraq, and she was talking about how their sense of volunteering is very different. We had another volunteer who's Lebanese. We had somebody whose family is still in Israel, and like it's so interesting to see in my volunteer group just how, like, here is a Muslim, a Jew, an atheist, a Christian, and somehow we're all getting along. It's amazing. It's cool.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
that was nice.
But would you consider those things that you guys do as being kind?
Well, we're being stewards of an ecosystem, right? We're being stewards of nature, which I somehow feel a responsibility for. Maybe it's just because, I have these mathematical chemical relationships between nature in my head. Like, we are not removed from the world. We are not. Like, we are as a part of it. World gets warmer. If you think coronavirus was bad, let me tell you about potential emerging diseases that will make coronavirus look like it was the fucking cold.
Right.
Like, I read these papers, like, I know what happens when deforestation happens, when animals get closer together, mutations start spreading. The planet is getting warmer. Mosquitoes that carry malaria are being found farther and farther north. Like, things, so I can go on forever about how being stewards of the planet is in turn also going to help you. But in terms of the people, when I listen to them speak, and it gets sometimes really emotional, but like what just being a volunteer consistently has done for them, right? Giving them new friends, giving them something to look forward to, giving them like some sort of sense of purpose or meaning in their actions. You work a desk job in accounting. Maybe you just don't feel like you're part of something important, and here you're volunteering, you're helping something bigger than you, you're working with other people. I don't know, sometimes it's just not even about the thing you're doing. It's just who you're doing it with.
So I'm actually glad that was like a perfect segue too, because we talked about anger, sadness, and now happiness would be the go-to, because you mentioned having a sense of purpose, and these people might have these 9-to-5s, but in that specific moment when they're, helping with all the forest stuff, they feel like they're providing and they're doing something that's actually helping,
Yeah.
besides, having a boss barking at them, having them do their job because the money's decent, but, they don't feel like they're actually somebody, they just feel like a cog in the wheel. So in those situations, would you say that those people would be happy? Would you say you're happy when you're in that situation, when you're doing all the forestation stuff?
I am, even when the mosquitoes are everywhere and you're just like shit, at the end of the day, we get together for snacks and beer and we talk about it and it's a good time. Yeah, totally. I mean, I have this thing where it's okay. How can you not be happy when you're outdoors? There is something fundamentally human. There is something fundamentally primal about being outdoors. And you've known me long enough to know this. If I want to actually bring someone into my life, if I want to make someone part of my friend circle, the first thing I will do is I will take them to the forest. I will take them hiking. I will take them somewhere and like, all right, let's see how you handle this. Let's see how you deal with this. Okay, there is no cell service. We are going to go on a 10-mile fuck you, this is gonna hurt hike. Let's see how you deal. And there is something human. I don't know what it is. Can you explain it? There's something human, natural about just like going outside.
I don't think we need. I mean, maybe down the line somebody's gonna write some kind of paper, and we're gonna understand exactly what that specifically is. But I think that's enough to just say it's a very human thing to
fucking mammals
to understand that. Yeah, I mean, we want to be within the elements. I keep using that word today, but within the elements of nature, right? And like you mentioned, we went on these like hikes and stuff, and I feel at peace. There's like a weird serenity. I mean, it's just like so. I don't know. It's a different effect than being like in this concrete jungle, being in the city, and then going outside of the city. There's a peace to it, and shit, I feel happy when I'm there.
What? I want you to imagine what, or at least recently, what's the happiest, like, what is your happy place? What is, like, I am happy now? Well, what is
Currently.
your, like, what is your happy moment? Like,
Recent, like a consistent thing, or
yeah,
like a very
consistent,
specific moment.
like, what will always make you, like, even if everything's shit, like, what will make it better? Like, what is your happy place, or what makes you really happy?
You know what? Like just being at the gym and seeing these regulars all the time, like, and especially after workouts. I got my workout high, and then usually what I do is I'll go eat my food, and then usually I'll just walk around a bit. I got some time before my next clients or whatever, but it's that sense of community, and it could be the smallest thing that like this. I'll see the same guy come in, and he'll make a comment, I'll make a comment, and then we're talking for a little bit. I think it's just that. It's just being around people and then just having them express this enthusiasm about being in the gym, and then you also expressing this enthusiasm, and then you're like, you know what, this shit feels good, especially after that dopamine hit from the workout. Even if it's like, an okay workout, there's still this effect that happens to me. I'm like, yeah, I feel great.
For the uninitiated, dopamine is a neurotransmitter that, when it's released in your brain, gives you that feeling of happiness.
Yeah, that.
Dopamine is the thing that gets released in your brain when you feel good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, I think for me, it's just being in that community, in that specific kind of environment where you're around people that have this likeness to what you like to feel. So I think that's really powerful.
We have a similar happy place. I'm thinking, like, when I think about where I'm really happy, I imagine, being on the deck with good food and my friends.
Yeah.
That is, oh my God, I'm crying on the inside. Like, I cannot think of anything better than just like, okay, here are my best friends. Here we're having some damn good food. We're grilling. We're having a good time.
Just
being out there.
I'm glad these specific things are just triggering these things, because just yesterday when we were playing that game, that's kind of how I felt. I was like, we have almost nothing right now.
It's
like
90 degrees. We're playing by candlelight.
Right.
It's hot as balls, and we're just.
That
was great.
Have y'all ever heard of or tried laughter yoga? You force yourself to laugh until everyone in the class is hysterically laughing. It's very therapeutic. When I've done it, I walk out feeling almost high. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's more that mirror neuron thing. There was a whole set. There is a small set of therapy called laughter therapy, where it's just like forcing because it's a physiological thing, right? Laughter comes from something happening in your brain. If you force yourself to laugh, can you reverse that chain? If you're going to laugh, can you reverse it and then enforce the chemical reaction that would otherwise cause the laughter? And a lot of research says sometimes, yeah, actually it does work that way. Yeah, you could do it.
I mean,
Actors
it's
do it all the time, man.
I feel like that's something you kind of do. Is like, I mean, you'll throw jokes out and quirks and whatever, like depending on who you're around. But usually you'll force a chuckle or two. I feel like that's something you kind of do, whether it's intentional or not. But that's just something I notice. As I don't know, as we converse, you say you look something up and it just happens to be funny, and
Yeah.
you're laughing.
Well, you
right?
have to do it. I mean, yeah.
But yeah, so back to yesterday, just being in a humid, no lights, candles environment, no phone. Like I hate that I picked my phone up and I knew it was fucking dead. Like I hate that I actually did that, but it felt good just being sitting there playing this game and just kind of experiencing that. I think that was really nice.
Yeah, it was great. We should do it again. We should do it more.
Let me just
I like the
turn
crowd.
the lights out.
Just like the four of us. Turn off the lights. Turn off our phones. Put them down.
Like
fuck
actually
it. Okay,
flip
we're
my box,
we're gonna be
turn all the
humans here.
electricity off.
Like,
you
wow.
know? I mean,
wonder-
it's
yeah.
how many? I challenge whoever the hell is listening to this. Like, how many people can do that for more than 20 minutes or hell, even 10 minutes? How many people can just put down their phone, look away from a screen, and talk to whoever's in your house?
I'll do you one better. Go out with your friends and go to dinner and put every phone in the middle.
Right.
And the rule is you split the bill. But if somebody touches their phone, they pay everything.
Yeah. Challenge that.
Ooh, that's a fun one.
That's because it's sad. Like we're in this like specific, environment now where you can't really escape this stuff. It's like it helps with your work sometimes, and certain tasks are easier, obviously. So
it's designed to optimize screen time. Like if you
Yeah.
think about like why am I getting a notification about, hey, watch this video now? Like it was posted 4 hours ago. Why am I getting the notification now? Because it's part of the system. This person hasn't opened the app for 23.7 minutes.
Right.
Let's give them a notification.
Like my
You
tracking
get
app.
usership, viewership, that's what it is.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to get you people to do. Watch our shit. It'll make me happy.
Right.
I don't
make
know,
us
I guess,
happy.
that
Let us
quite
have that
dopamine hit from seeing 1,000 views on a video. All right, let's
Right,
go.
exactly.
I'm good. I felt happy for a microsecond, but no, really,
Yeah. It's addicting.
that is great. I do love. God, I want that. Part of last time when we wanted to do this episode yesterday, and then the power went out.
Yeah.
The day before I was on a walk and I just smelled a bonfire. And
Oh, yeah.
immediately, like, all these psychosocial sort of synapses started firing, and I'm like,
Isn't that crazy?
Suddenly, you start connecting this, like, damn, I wish I were there.
See, when you say it like that, it doesn't sound sexy, but I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
like,
like,
oh,
okay.
there's actually these things happening.
Oh,
but
well, I'm so sorry that my
sorry, your scientific explanation of what's happening.
my
when I
scientific
smell a fucking
explanation is not
bonfire.
sexy. I don't know. You start talking to
That's
me
kinda
about
sexy, I
you
guess.
start talking science to me. I am wet. My
Got that
pussy
wap.
is ready. My wet.
Yes.
Get a mop and bucket, because I.
Just a side note. So I live not too far from a street called Bussy Drive, like spelled about the same way. I think,
I don't
might
know
be
what
bus,
it's. I don't
bus.
know. Who knows? Bus.
but it was just funny.
It's
just
bussy.
Just a side note. It was part of the experience yesterday. So the power's out, so we're like all like, oh shit, let's go crazy, and
Let's get food.
ordered some food. Raining still, and we went out, and yeah, we had some fun.
It was great.
It was fun. But that's happy thoughts, right? So you mentioned the bonfire. Like a bonfire triggers this positive emotional response when you smell burning wood or whatever, right?
Yep.
And similarly, like the smell of chlorine for me will trigger a positive thing, because it kind of brings me back to like my childhood when I would be in like on these vacations, and there were just a lot of like just happy thoughts, being a kid.
Oh, like a water
Innocent.
park pool.
Yeah, like that
nice,
kind of like
yeah.
a smell, like it's like, oh, that's summer. That's like very much that, and that's a positive thing in my head. And yeah, so whenever I'm at work and they got the pool, I'll just like walk past the pool, I'll smell that chlorine, and I'm like, yeah, get high on that shit.
To
It's the
me,
bleach or chlorine, whatever.
bran muffins is the smell of vacation to me.
Bran muffin. That's
Yeah, every
interesting.
time we used to go on vacation with my family, my mom would bake these bran muffins, and like that's the smell of vacation to me. It's like the smell of these oat bran muffins.
I like that.
It's,
I think
it's like the
See, I
little,
think that's
yeah.
cool. I like
something.
hearing
Yeah.
stuff like that, and that just kind of brings more color to this experience of being this meat, flesh, and shit.
Team, ladies and gentlemen, Vikings, Valkyries, everything in between. Be swole of body, be swole of mind, be swole
Yes.
of heart. Go be kind. Go spend time with friends.